Hello everybody, how are you? Welcome to learntocook.com. My name is Chef Fernando Mojica. Thanks for joining us today. Today we're going to be preparing a chicken sandwich. We're going to be able to enjoy this fairly easy to make sandwich. So all we're going to need for today's recipe is we're obviously going to need some sandwich buns, or we also call it sub buns, whatever you prefer. So we're going to need some bread, we're going to need some salt and pepper, a little bit of olive oil, a little bit of garlic. Also going to obviously need some chicken breast and some bell peppers and some red onions. And what we have done with the vegetables as well as with the chicken is we cut those in very thin slices. The peppers we've used a combination of red peppers, yellow peppers, and green peppers. Not only gives it some color, but also gives it a little bit of a different flavor, so there'll be more flavor complexity to the dish. And then the chicken breast, we remove all the fat and we remove all the sinew out of it, and we cut it on very thin slices, so we'll be able to cook that. So those are the ingredients we're going to utilize for today, and now we have the ingredients. Let's move over to the stove. So we're going to grab a sauté pan and we're going to warm that up, and then we're going to add the oil and we're going to warm the oil up. After the oil is hot, we're going to dump the chicken. You want to be very careful when you do that so the oil doesn't come back at you and doesn't burn you. So we're going to do the chicken, and we're going to season it with a little bit of salt and pepper. And we're going to let the chicken brown a little bit before we flip it and before we start moving it around a little bit more. Let it get nice and brown on the outside, so it gives it more texture, and it also gives obviously a better flavor. So at this point, once the chicken is starting to get a little nice and brown, we're going to go ahead and start adding our vegetables, and we're going to add the peppers first. And the reason we want to do that is because the peppers actually take a little longer to cook than the rest of the vegetables. So we're going to add the peppers, and we're going to saute them for about 2 to 4 minutes until the peppers are starting to get nice and soft and starting to pick up a little bit of color. Cook those for about 3 to 4 minutes until they're nice and soft and until they're starting to grab a little bit of color. Once the onions are cooked and starting to get brown, we're going to add the garlic, and we're going to cook that for about a minute or so, about 2 minutes, and we're going to reduce the flame actually, and so that the vegetables don't burn. And we're just going to let this go over low flame until the chicken is completely cooked through. And once the chicken is cooked through, we're almost done. Once the chicken is cooked through, we're going to deglaze our pan with a little bit of wine, and you can use any type of wine you want, or you can, if you don't like wine, you can also use chicken broth or chicken stock. And what deglazing means is we're going to add a cold liquid to a hot pan, and you're going to hear all that sizzle, and you're going to scrape the pan so you get all of the stuff that got stuck to the bottom of the pan, so which is all flavors and all the particles. That's going to add a little bit more flavor. So once that's done, we're going to finalize this by placing the cheese on top of the ingredients, and we're going to put the flame over low, and we're just going to let that go until the cheese is starting to melt. So once the cheese is melted, we're going to start building our sandwiches, and what we're going to do is we're going to grab a pair of tongs, and we're going to just grab the chicken and all the vegetables and some of the cheese, and just place that on the bun that we're going to utilize. And once that is done, from here what you can do is you can actually add one more slice of cheese if you prefer, and on top of this, and then you can put that back in the oven for a little bit so that it melts. Otherwise, it's ready to enjoy if you don't want to add any extra cheese. So once we have that, we're going to top our sandwiches. and so that they're a little easier to eat, and for presentation purposes, we're going to cut them into diagonals. So thank you for joining us today. I hope you enjoyed this recipe. As you can see, it's fairly easy to make. I hope you enjoy the video. Once again, my name is Chef Fernando Mojica with LearnToCook.com. Hope to see you next time. Thank you.
Well, thanks for joining us today at LearnToCook.com. Be sure to comment and to subscribe. Also visit us on Facebook and Twitter. Have a great day and thank you.